I have a dancing trainer, Ginka trainer.
Oh wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
I have
It's such a beautiful dance.
Yes, I agree. I have a Russian language, like repetitor in Russian, like language coach. And I do a lot of sports as well. And in the Netherlands, like doing all these things together would cost.
So what's the average price for a Russian lesson? In like, what are you kind of the median more or less?
I pay around $10 a lesson. And
That's
a
not
lesson is 1.5 hours or even...
That's really good, actually.
Yeah. The biggest obstacle to coming to Russia is the Russian language. I think if you learn Russian well, then you can have an amazing life here. But Russian is pretty hard. I think the alphabet is not a problem at all. I think the Russian grammar is pretty hard and the pronunciation isn't easy for me. I'm trying to befriend them, but they're not trying to befriend me. That's, I think, also a big misconception in Europe. So they think when they go to Russia, then they're regarded as the enemy, but it's not like that at all. Like, you're very welcome. They're even happy that you, despite everything that's going on, that you're coming to Russia and you're willing to go through like the social pressure or whatnot. And yeah, they're very welcome.
Hi everybody, welcome to another video of Braiden Consulting, and today we're having a very special guest who has decided to connect his life in Russia with the very special area of Vladikavkaz. Hi Ali, very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So today I think it's a very special video of ours because you have a very special history and there's a special reason why you came to Russia and what ties you initially with the area and with the country a little bit. Can you please talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so I started my chapter in Russia by studying in St Petersburg.
Yes.
I went to higher school of economics. I studied there for 2 years. Then I went back to the Netherlands. I traveled, I moved abroad to Turkey, to Argentina. But then our family thought we need to move abroad somewhere else. And in the end, we decided to move to Russia and specifically to Vladikavkaz in North Ossetia.
But how did you come to St. Petersburg in the first place? So you are your roots. Let's start with your roots, your heritage first.
Yeah, so I am Dutch Iranian, but I grew up in the Netherlands. My mom is Dutch, my father is Iranian. But until the age of 23, I lived in the Netherlands. And then COVID occurred and I moved to Brazil, to Latin America. We traveled a bit and I wanted to continue studying. I already finished my master's in the Netherlands of my bachelor's, but I wanted to do my master's somewhere. Actually, I was thinking about Europe, but everywhere it was closed.
Because of COVID?
Because of COVID. But the lockdowns in Europe, they were very long. So I thought I need to go somewhere where I can study offline. And then I saw an interview with the president of Russia. And he said that Russia would open up soon. And then I thought, okay, that's interesting. So I looked into it and I saw like, okay, actually places are opening in Russia. And I thought, why not? And actually, with very little knowledge of the country or the language, I decided to go to Russia.
And immediately go to a Russian university as well.
Yes, so I saw that you could study in English here. So I made use of that opportunity. And yeah, I went to Russia.
Amazing. So you studied in St. Petersburg in Higher School of Economics.
Yes.
And then you decided that this is not the end of it and you will come back to Russia, but in a very different manner, in a different role and with your family. Can you talk a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So I really enjoyed my studies in Russia. I was very surprised how much actually it's like Europe, how Europe used to be. Everything is so logical. There's not too much cultural difference, to be honest. And everything works very well. I lived in quite a few countries and I visited even more. But I feel like in Russia, things work very well. People, they're on time. If you make an appointment, the person will be there and everything works. So I had a very positive impression. Only the winter in St. Petersburg was quite cold for me, especially given my Iranian blood.
And that's considering you lived in the Netherlands by the...
Yeah, I mean, the Netherlands isn't a warm country either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, that was basically the biggest downside for me in St. Petersburg. Besides that, I really enjoyed the city. And we also traveled to Moscow, to Kazan, and then to the Caucasus region. But yeah, in the end, we decided on Vladikavkaz.
So what lured you in? How did Vladikavkaz lure you in? What's so special about it for you personally, for your family?
So actually, I found out about Vladikavkaz when I was in Argentina, living abroad. Actually, at the same time and place where Michael was there as well.
Yeah. Michael, our head of sales department, international sales department.
So we lived in the same neighborhood, apparently. Unfortunately, I didn't meet him there, but we met here, so that's great. But yeah, I watched a video about. My father always sends me videos about Kafka's dancing because it looks a bit like Iranian dancing and he likes it a lot. So my YouTube algorithm was already a bit focused on the Kafka's region. And then I saw a YouTube short and it said Iranian speaking people in Russia. And I thought, how is that possible? Like Iranian speaking people in Russia, it must be a mistake. So I watched the video and it said there are people in Russia that have a language that is based on Iranian language. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. And then I checked the place, Vladikavkaz, and I thought, wow, this is such a beautiful city. I saw the mountains, the river flowing through the city, and it was so green and so beautiful. So that's where it started. I did more research, and yeah, I saw that it has a very nice combination of city, but also culture and nature. So then we decided to visit, and we went that October, so maybe a few months later.
And basically, from what you're saying, you kind of decide, you and your family, you decided you'll settle there and maybe marry and maybe you.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And business-wise, so you're saying that there are some opportunities that you see in that. Can you talk a little bit about that? What Vladikavkaz has to offer in this respect? What opportunities do you see in that place to develop yourself and your interests?
Well, Vladikavkaz is very close to Istanbul, so there's a direct flight to Istanbul, 2.5 hours. It's also very close to Georgia, to Armenia, and even to Iran. So if you're looking at export, you could easily buy products in Russia and then ship them maybe to Turkey or to Georgia or to Armenia, and from there on to the rest of the world. And maybe after the sanctions even directly. But yeah, primarily we're now looking at import-export with maybe countries like Iran, where my father is from, or maybe even Europe. And probably after the sanctions or after the war finishes, there will be more opportunities as well between Russia and Europe again. And I think they need people for that, who have roots in Europe or speak European languages, but also speak Russian or live in Russia, so who can kind of connect these worlds. And in that regard, Vladikavkaz has a great geographical location.
Yeah, so it's both geographical, cultural, and somehow generational, in a sense, because there is as well this bridge nowadays between the elder generation who've been there for a while and the young generation who's kind of emerging and trying to develop the area and make a difference.
Yeah, you also see a lot of new cafes that are very beautiful, that have very different styles. So also in that regard, if you want to open a restaurant, people love food there. Or if you want to open maybe a park with animals, with a little cafe, like there's a lot of opportunities there and people love to relax, love nature. So I think also in that regard, there's a lot of opportunities.
Would you say that you feel there, so prior to Vladikavkaz, where did you feel at home? You've traveled, your father said you've been to like 40 countries or something?
Yeah, I've traveled, yeah. I would say I feel the most at home outside of the Netherlands and Iran, I would say in Vladikavkaz, because Vladikavkaz as well is a nice mix between Europe and Iran, I would say, or like, let's say, Middle Eastern culture and European culture. If you bring that together, you would end up, I think, in Ossetia, in my opinion, because everything is still quite like Russian European, but then the culture is a bit more towards like Iran. They also love wrestling, they love being in the mountains, they're also very close people, very warm people. So yeah, it makes me think of Iran, but then things work very well. So it also brings the convenience of, let's say, like Russia or Europe. So it's a very nice mix.
You were saying that there are not many differences to Europe, obviously, in the sense when we're bridging two cultures and two different mentalities together.
Yeah.
However, what is it that you miss from being here? What do you miss? And on the contrary, what do you wish maybe people in Europe, particularly in the Netherlands, would have adopted from the place where you kind of devoted to settle right now?
Yeah, so I think people think that if you move to Russia, you'll miss a lot of things. But actually, given the facilities in Russia, for instance, ozone, Avito, and the infrastructure, like I don't miss anything, to be honest. Like if I want a product, I just search on ozone and I can order the product, and the day after tomorrow it's there. If I need a service, I check Avito, like whether you need a boxing trainer, whether you need a swimming coach, like everything is on there. You can find it very easily for a very reasonable price. So I think in that regard, it's even more convenient than Europe. And in Europe as well, the services and also products are very expensive. So here you can actually upgrade your lifestyle with the same budget. So for instance, in Vladikavkaz, I have a dancing trainer, Ginka trainer.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
I have
That's such a beautiful dance.
Yes, I agree. I have a Russian language, like repetitor in Russian, like language coach. And I do a lot of sports as well. And in the Netherlands, like doing all these things together would cost a fortune. But in Russia, it's still relatively affordable. And yeah, as I said, for products, like if I need anything, I just check on Ozone. And I'm always surprised with how many products they have there. So I don't miss anything in specific from the Netherlands.
So what's the average price for a Russian lesson? In like what are you kind of the median more or less? Are you paying and you're having online lessons or
yeah, live lessons?
Okay, wow.
Yeah. So I pay around $10 a lesson, and
That's
a
not
lesson is 1.5 hours or even.
That's really good.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah. So maybe it's also cheaper in Vladikavkaz than in Moscow, but yeah, that's what I pay. So, and in the Netherlands, for private lesson at your house, you would pay maybe at least 40 euros an hour, like if not more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have 3 lessons a week, so in the Netherlands I would pay a whole salary to just a Russian coach, and then I would have so many other things in my life too, which I wouldn't be able to afford. With
Not Lezginka.
Yeah, like Ginka in Netherlands, you cannot even get those lessons. So think about that.
Really looking forward to seeing you dance Lezginka.
Yeah, I only had 4 lessons so far, but I'm working on it. And next time I'm in Moscow, maybe me and Michael can have a little dance.
Oh God, that's
because he's Armenian. So.
so many things to look forward to. Gosh, it's amazing. Coming back, you have learned Russian for quite a while now.
Yes.
How is your experience with Russian? How do you like the language? And do you have a funny story related to learning or speaking Russian?
So I think,
happy to share.
yeah, the biggest obstacle to coming to Russia is the Russian language. I think if you learn Russian well, then you can have an amazing life here. But Russian is pretty hard. I studied it for a bit with a private tutor, and then I went to the Caucasus, and then I went to a university, and I went to lessons on a daily basis, and then my Russian really improved. And now I take lessons again 3 times a week. But I would say, for me as a Dutch Iranian person, the improvements don't go that fast, but the most important thing is that you practice every day, and then you'll come there. And a story, let's think. I like the language, but it's definitely very different from the languages that I knew before, like German, English, Dutch, or Persian, or even a little bit of Spanish. It's very different.
But you had experience with other alphabets before, so obviously Cyrillic is obviously a new alphabet, but you had experience with other alphabets before.
I think the alphabet is not a problem at all. I think the Russian grammar is pretty hard, and the pronunciation isn't easy for me. So, yeah, those are 2 obstacles.
How do you like the cases?
Yeah, the cases are... I'm trying to befriend them, but they're not trying to befriend me. So, but we'll
I
get
mean, it's a tough friend, but once you have it, it's with you for good. So.
Yes. And the people are very forgivable. Like, they understand that Russian is a very difficult language, and yeah, nowhere I felt uninvited. Like the Russian people and also the Ossetian people, and like all the peoples in Russia that I've met so far, they're very welcoming, and I've never felt negative sentiment because I'm from the Netherlands, from a NATO country or whatever. Like they've always been welcoming from the first moment when I could only say da and niet. They were always welcoming, so that's great too. That's, I think, also a big misconception in Europe. So they think when they go to Russia, then they're regarded as the enemy, but it's not like that at all. Like, you're very welcome. They're even happy that you, despite everything that's going on, that you're coming to Russia and you're willing to go through like the social pressure or whatnot. And yeah, they're very welcome.
So now that you're here,
Yeah.
almost here, you're almost here. What is your aspiration for your life in Russia? What is it that you wish to attain having come here and actually changed your life 180 degrees? Yeah, what do you want to achieve now that you've moved to Russia? That's a new chapter in your life.
Well, I think on a personal level, of course, start a business here, and who knows, in the future, start a family here. But besides that, I feel like in Russia you can live a very normal life, and you are not distracted by too many other variables. And I would say in Europe these days, like you're going from one crisis to another crisis to another crisis to another crisis, and the prices they're increasing, and we are having war, and then we're having immigration crisis and a climate crisis, and it's very hard to live a normal life. And I feel like in Russia, you can live a normal life to a better extent than in Europe. So I'm just looking forward to having a good life, good friends, and yeah, just growing as a person, and yeah, financially as well, and my family too. They're also here, so they're very happy. So just growing in every metric.
So moving on, basically.
Yeah, moving on, yeah.
Moving on and moving to Russia.
Yes, exactly. That's a good phrase.
Thank you so much, Ali, for coming. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Looking forward to having a part 2.
Yes, definitely.
With Ali's father. And thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us via our social media. And let's Genka on you sometime later.
Next year.
Agreed.
Let's do it.
Great. Bye, guys.